Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Nicole Pitts.
So everyone, it was almost exactly 3 years ago to this day that my really good friends, Curtis and Ingrid, were hanging out with me in my living room, telling me about all the exciting things they were doing, giving me updates. Ingrid started, I'm going to France and I'm going to do an exhibition of African diaspora art in South Africa. Then my friend Curtis chimed in. I just got back from New York and I'm doing a denim party. I got all kinds of great ideas and we're going to do this party really soon. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. So I, of course, quickly was trying to come up with something. What can I say? What can I say? So I'm working in my mind. I can tell them my kids are on the honor roll. No, these are my single mover, shaker, childless friends. So that's not important. Then I thought, okay. My kids can now clean all the pee off of the toilet by themselves. Personal victory, 1 bathroom in our house. Still not quite, hitting that level I was looking for. So, oh yes. My husband and his motorcycle friends just went on a multi-day motorcycle trip to Atlanta, harrowing because they had to ride through the rain. Still not quite there. So I realized right then and there was something missing. Something had to change. Luckily, the week before, I'm sorry to tell you this, I have a guilty pleasure. It is called fried okra from Church's Fried Chicken. Not quite as bad as French fries, but still not a health food. Still, I went driving down the street, right around Hubble and Finkel, got my nice fried okra from behind the bulletproof glass, and I was on my way. On my way home with my fried okra in hand. But then I just looked over to my left and I couldn't believe it. I almost dropped my fried okra, which is very major, okay? I just want you all to know. It was like it rose up out of the neighborhood right in front of me like this big, huge, pink, ornate wedding cake with 2 big domes on top. I was in awe. Why? You probably can tell from my voice. I'm from San Diego. And the elementary school that I went to, the performing arts school that I attended, we did our dance classes steps away from the world famous San Diego Zoo. It's a collection of buildings really, called the Casa del Prado. In San Diego, we have Spanish architectural style all over the place. You can't shake a stick in San Diego without hitting a Spanish style building. So when I saw it here in Detroit, after 25 years living here, I could not believe it. It was like this weird deja vu thing. And it implanted itself in me, and I just couldn't let it go. So that very next morning, I roll over in the bed, and I nudge my husband lovingly, and I say to him, Lamar, I'm gonna buy Cooley High School and turn it into a community center with lofts. And he rolled over, and he looked at me in the eye like he always does when he's really serious, and he said, what? Why? And he may as well have said, woman, you're crazy. And see, y'all don't know me very well, but when I get kind of that funky feeling, I'm non-confrontational, peaceful woman all the way, San Diego, California, 92120. I just stopped and I changed the subject. and we moved on. So, of course, I was looking for support for my great idea, this thing that had implanted itself in my mind, inside my body. And I had to dig deeply within myself, and I found where my faith was. And my faith was in my experience at the University of Maryland College Park. I, for 2 solid years, read historic preservation articles for the National Trust for Historic Preservation Library as a way to fulfill my fellowship while I was at the University of Maryland College Park. And so for 2 years, all I did every day, like a 9-to-5 job, read preservation articles, one after another. And I would take those preservation articles, anywhere between 5 pages and even 20, 50 pages, and condense them down into one short sentence. You can imagine the fun that I had for these 2 years at University of Maryland College Park. But it was very valuable information. And I knew that since the 1970s, people had been reusing buildings like this one I had seen, this wedding cake of a building in the middle of a neighborhood at Hubble and Finkel. And that's what gave me the desire to move forward. Then I thought, okay, I gotta get something beyond my memory kind of working for me here. I gotta get this like good feeling going. So I decided I would start an email kind of campaign for myself to boost my confidence, to kind of balance out the doubt that I had been experiencing. So one of the many people that I'd emailed was Ingrid, my friend from the living room, my African diaspora curator friend, who also, by the way, later was featured in Essence magazine for her fabulous hair. If you know Ingrid, you know what I'm talking about. She's got this incredible fro with gray and just beautiful. So I emailed Ingrid, and I was really hanging my hat on her response. And it was lukewarm. But I could forgive that. Everyone else was kind of like, yeah, good, no, cool, yay. Just not really, that, yeah, you can do it, that I was looking for. So I was thankful because, as Satori said in her introduction, later Ingrid decided to take me and Curtis to the Night Arts Foundation Award program. And I met Satori and so many other inspiring people, and I thought to myself, this is my clan. This is what I can do too. I can do this. Me with my 2 boys and husband, motorcycling and cleaning pee off the toilet. I can do this. I can do this. So shortly thereafter, Ingrid yet again came through for me, and she took me to a television broadcast at a local Detroit TV station. She was sitting in for someone who had an injury, a host on the television station, and so I just came for moral support, and she said, you'll probably run into somebody, you can tell him about the Cooley Reuse Project. So thoughtful, such a good friend. And I, sure enough, ran into someone who was really interested in media production, and he led me to a woman so unexpected, our preservation consultant, Deb Goldstein. He gave me her phone number. Oh, call this lady, call this lady. So it turns out Deb Goldstein is the woman responsible for putting Cooley on the National Trust for Historic Preservation's list of historic places. Wow. In fact, Mike Ilitch, those of you feel how you want to about Mike, but this man is a Cooley alum, and he paid to get Cooley on the National Register, which allows us and other people who are interested in historic buildings to take 20% from the federal government toward the rehab of that building. So it's very significant. Anyway, so Deb is my new woman, and I'm so excited because she's got it going on, and she knows all the people. She connects me to the preservation clique, and so before I know it, we're having a meeting at Coleman A. Young Building. All the historic preservationists from all over Southeast Michigan come together in the historic planner's office. She's hosting, but it's not like they're getting together and they're like, oh yeah, Nicole, come on, talk for an hour, ask some questions. No, I'm facilitating the meeting. They're all there for Cooley Reuse Project. Woo! But I have to tell you the best part. So after the meeting, Lamar, of course, he comes up to me, he was there, and he said, Nicole, Nick is what he calls me. Nick, you should have seen how these people were looking at you during this meeting. They were in awe. I was really feeling good. And then one thing kind of started to happen after another. Lamar was wearing his Cooley Reuse Project t-shirt. I didn't even have to ask him to wear it. He was just wearing it because he wanted to. And see, Lamar and I are a team. We have been a team for 14 very, very happy years. And yeah. He's my urban, laid-back Detroit man, and I'm the California Valley girl, uptight chick that he manages to keep under control. But, it was really tough to find Lamar. It was kind of a saga within itself, so I have to share that with you. I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to start from the beginning of the story. So when I got my divorce, I got back out there. I was ready to, meet a new person. So I would go to parties, go to bars. I'd sit there, looking approachable, waiting. And then a guy would come over and he would say, "Hi, sweetheart." And I'd say, "Hi." And he'd say, "What's your name?" And I'd say, "Nicole," if he was okay looking. But if he was really good looking, I would say, "My name is Nikki." And as the conversation would flow, hopefully the music wasn't so loud that I had to lean in to hear every single word, he would finally come to, usually after a quick lick of the lips. "So, pretty, what do you do for a living?" Now, before I could even get these words out, "I work as an English professor at Oakland Community College." That man was gone so fast, and he thought that he was going quickly because he was afraid that I was going to whip out my big red marker and edit his speech bubbles for grammar and punctuation errors. I just knew that. I knew it. And let me tell you, that happened time and time again, so much so that it almost became amusing until I met Lamar. He was the only person who didn't run away. And then later, 2 years later into our marriage, we had 2 gorgeous 8+ pound boys who I gave birth to naturally. Lamar was my birthing coach. Scream-free, drug-free birth. Yes. A proud moment for both of us. But I think the most proud moment was when we formed together as the team that we are, a nonprofit economic development corporation, so that we could move forward with this project at Cooley together as a team. Yes. So I was feeling really good. Laura was behind me. I had a few friends. Ingrid's taking me around. But there were some challenges. We didn't always have the support that I was looking for from my teammates and friends like Ingrid. I would tell people, just in my everyday comings and goings, at music lessons with the boys, or in the doctor's office, taking my in-laws to their regular appointments, I would tell people, I'm going to take Cooley High School and I'm going to turn it into a community center with residential housing. And I got different reactions, but a lot of the time the reaction I would get was, Cooley is 322,000 square feet and it's on 18 acres of land? Yeah, it is. And they would say, oh, honey, no. I hear they're selling these Detroit houses real cheap. Why don't you start with one of those and kind of work your way to the 322,000 square feet? Or I would get you want to do that in Detroit? Oh, no, honey. They'll just mess that up. So I had to endure, and I had to be, strong and persevering. But I was glad to have those other people, Satori, Ingrid, my husband, my kids, all supporting me. And one of my biggest supporters, and I'm going to try not to tear up, was my recently deceased mother-in-law, Hazel Williams. She's from Panama, and I would come to her and tell her about all the, this is what she would call it, shikini business that was going on with the project. And she would always say every time, this is a blessed project. Yeah. So thankful for her and so many other people like my cousin Brenda, who came over to my house with her daughter Shannon and talked through this with me and tried to help me. But I'm so grateful to all these positive voices, and I'm grateful for the negative ones too, because without them, how would I know how to answer all these questions that people are constantly asking me? So it's a positive. Now, as time went on, I found myself kind of getting into different circles, like, for example, the development and construction circles. Now, I'm an English teacher, and I know English teacher stuff, but now this whole culture of development and building, they have their own language. LITEC, SHPO, MISHTA, Michigan Historic Preservation Network, and by the way, even though that is a mouthful, I'm so glad. It's a heartwarming fact to know that the executive director of Michigan Historic Preservation Network is a former 1970s English teacher from Cooley. That's right, that's right. So we had our ups and we had our downs, and I got so excited sometimes that I would just dash off emails. I remember as I was feeling one of my super highs, I went, and of course, when you're feeling good, you spend a little bit of money. And I didn't get like any new clothes or new shoes or a new handbag. I got myself some CAD drawings. That's right, computer-aided design drawings. And it was a hefty amount. And so with all my enthusiasm, all my excitement, I dashed off my email to all of my different team members, and I said, "Oh, look at this, look at this." And I remember this one particular response that I got, and it was very brief. It was one sentence, and it said, "What am I looking at, Nicole?" So I had to step back for a minute. Didn't have the chance to change the subject. Can't do that with emails. So I had to kind of look at it objectively, and I said, "Yeah, you know what? It does kind of look like one of those M.C. Escher things. You can't tell, is that the floor? Is that the ceiling? I'm not sure." So, we've learned, we refine, we continue. But, stuff like that would happen all the time. I paid a lot of money for a service to do our 501c3 documents, and then we got these pro bono attorneys at Clark Hill, and they said, "Nicole, give us all your great information. We'll just tweak it slightly." They had to totally redo everything that this service did. Grammar, punctuation errors, they said, out the door. I was like, oh man, so glad for pro bono. Yes, yes. But the highlight, I think, of our entire journey thus far was to get in to the Metro Times in an October issue. Me and Lamar, we had our black and white picture taken by our photographer, Mariuka Rolfick. She really captured us so beautifully outside of Cooley, and it was in the Metro Times. It was all bold and everything, and then people started to recognize us. I'd be walking down the street, I'd be going to Goodwell's, I'd be going over there, to all those little spots, the hip spots, trying to be hip myself, and "Hey, I saw you in the Metro Times, oh my gosh, you're doing Cody." I'm like, no, Cooley, C-O-O. L-E-Y. I know some of you know this, right? Come on, there's Cooley graduates out there, hopefully. Oh, okay, well, maybe not tonight. But these are the ups and downs. This is the roller coaster here that I'm taking you on. But, oh my goodness. I think that the lowest of the low had to have been, again in that development circle, I got a phone call from one of our key development team members, and he said, "You know what, Nicole, you sent me so many emails last week, and I've got a lot of other projects going on at the same time, and can you just email me from now on about actionable items?" Thank you. And from that moment on, all of my emails went directly to his spam. A little sad. And then next step in the fun adventure, I almost felt a lot of times like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I got my one board of director member, Tom Wilkinson, on one arm, and I got my other board of director, Leah Robinson, on the other arm, and we're just marching off to the Emerald City. And it's almost like this bizarre, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz and Diana Ross and the Wiz, but with black and white people all kind of mixed up together. It was a good time. We went through the good times, we went through the bad times, and it's been awesome until DPS informed me that there was an all-cash offer on Cooley. Ooh. 3 years of work, 3 years of hard work, going to community association meetings, talking to people, dead-end meetings, waste of time meetings. Lamar remembers these. And, just to kind of get to that place of excitement, when that all-cash offer news came, I was like, man. But then one of our steadfast team members, Linda G, hooked us up with our very own millionaire from Michigan. Yes. And now we have our all-cash offer. And we're waiting to hear from DPS about whether or not we're gonna get our keys in 30 days or 60 days. So many nights crying into my pillow silently next to Lamar has led to this moment of really great feelings and really huge triumph. But ironically, the journey is not over. We have to sign leases. We have to find more investors. We need to do a lot more work. We have more ahead of us. But I'm glad to share this story with all of you this evening, and it is my privilege to be working on the most beautiful school in Detroit, Cooley High School.
Nicole Pitts, ladies and gentlemen.